Hello, everybody. Welcome to Quilting Unscripted, where the chat is casual, all about all things quilting. I'm Lynn.
Hi, I'm Carla from Quilting by the River, and welcome to another episode edition, whatever we call what we do.
Yeah, this thing that we do. So September, here it is already. The days are getting a little shorter here, and in Vermont, we've turned the corner, and we are now in the season we call get ready for winter. So Labor Day has come and gone. The kids have gone back to school, and we are back in our studios. So
we are back in our studios to the point that I'm in Northern Ontario, mid-Northern Ontario, about 3 hours north of Toronto. And today was summer. It was so hot. And due to a pile of things that happened in the house and on my desk, I was not able to get outside. We had a bit of a house issue. My kitchen sink drain plugged last night as I was trying to clear the sink of dishes. And so hubby fiddled with it a little bit last night. We had the router going with no avail. And so this morning we tried. We're now in the basement. And picture this, girls. The drain to the kitchen sink is above my design wall, which means that now that we've cut a pipe, you have to hold a pail, hope the splash isn't too big. There's plastic sheets over there covering my design wall. Hey, it's life.
Yep, life is interesting some days.
I do have a laundry tub that we are now doing. We're doing dishes in the laundry room, so we can manage.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a couple of things going on here too, but it is life. I didn't get outside either today. I swore that I was going to get outside and do some pruning. There was some pruning that needs to be done, but I don't know about, I think Carl is in the same position I am, but we are in the throes of trying to get patterns finished. I'm trying to button up some details on this block of the month that's coming out, and it's just been busy. I spent a couple hours with my team going over some edits. So anyway, that's what's happening here is I'm spending a lot of time pushing the paperwork. I'm
still trying not to procrastinate my pattern writing. Every time I sit down, I open up what I've got written, and then something happens, and I'm like, that's not too bad. But yeah, I have to keep my graphic designer happy, so I'm going to have to get at it because I told her it would be ready by, soon, really soon, if not yesterday.
So mine's got to go to the printer pretty soon, within days. So we're getting into the end of that. But, we're back, getting back to our guilds. Everybody's coming back in to sew, picking up some of those projects that you left behind during the summer when we're all doing all of our other recreation and not our sewing recreation. So it's time to get
back. The girls are back in the studio. I had my first Tuesday group in here quilting, and something that I put out, I actually was able to be on track, fairly close to being on month par, and put out my monthly newsletter. But Lynn, when we start September, it's almost like a January. Do you feel like September's like January 1st, new beginnings, new projects, new this, kids go back to school. And one of the things that I find, we are all excited to sew, but maybe we haven't looked at our sewing machines for a couple of months and they've been sitting there a little bit idle. So in my newsletter, I put a little thing in the bottom that said, maybe we should, take the cover plate off, pull the bobbin case out of there, give it a little swirl. And remember, ladies, do not use compressed air and blow that stuff into your machine. If anything, I don't know about you, but I treated myself a billion years ago to a little gizmo that attaches to the end of my vacuum cleaner, and it's like a mini vacuum, and you can get in there.
Yeah.
See, I'm getting in there, all the little pokey things, and yeah. So
yeah, treat yourself to that. They're not real expensive, and they work great.
They do.
You get all that lint out of there. And
along with, I do love the nooks and cranny silicone cleaners. They are like glue. They just pick up that stuff, and they're flexible. Yeah.
Yep. So, that's my favorite too. I have a couple of homemade ones, but I like those the best because they do that silicone just grabs all those fibers and pulls it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's time. Treat yourself. New needle, whether you think you've got a new one in there or not. New needle, give it a clean. Depending on your machine, a little bit of oil. I have a Juki, so mine needs to be oiled. So I gave it some TLC the other day. So along with the long arm, it's like a new start.
Yeah.
I know.
So if you haven't had your machine tuned up yet this year, consider getting it tuned up before you start all your fall sewing and getting your stuff done for Christmas, because there's nothing more frustrating than your machine not performing to its top potential. Yep. And you get frustrated. And so do a little preventative maintenance, have your favorite technician do that. I just had my machines done, and I'm really happy that I did. Sometimes in the summer I can squeak them in when I have a break where I'm not using one or the other. So I try and do that.
There you go. Yeah. New beginnings, September, new quilters are popping up, where you and I are both trying to think of new things to bring to the quilters this year. I've got a couple of new classes coming up, and we both have new patterns coming out.
Yes.
And because it's September, because I sort of let my stock in my studio go down as far as Studio 180 tools, because I don't get a lot of traffic in the summer. Generally, when it comes to my neck of the woods, everybody's out because winter is so long and cold that they're just out. And that's great, because I need the break, you need the break. So, quilters can go off and be at the cottage and the camp and the kids and the hiking and the outdoor stuff, and not in here. So I'm anxiously waiting for some orders to come in. I received an order from the Canadian supplier for So Kind of Wonderful tools, because I've got a big workshop coming up next month. Wonder Flutters, which is the I call it the butterfly runner. So
so we got a couple of people in on the comments, Valerie and Anne. Hi, guys.
Oh, way to go, guys.
Yeah. So it's been, I just came off the road last week from AQS. I was teaching there. I had an absolutely wonderful, wonderful time in Pennsylvania, and busy with the long arm. It just seems like, I'm home for a couple of days. I've been traveling a lot. This has been a year of the travel for me, almost to the level of pre-pandemic for me. So it seems like I come home, and while I'm doing my laundry, getting it ready to go on the next trip, the long arm's running, the washer's running. It just seems like, constantly, shifting from one class to another, getting the prep done. So some of my classes are kitted, so we're kitting up fabrics and stuff like that. So it's been quite a run for me. So last week, I concluded my multi-day trips for hire, for 2025. I have one trip starting Sunday that I'm going to head out on, but it's a retreat. For me, I get to go as a retreater, which I don't get to do very often.
I have one of those coming up next month, so I'm
really excited about that. But I will be off the road, only doing day classes, teaching or lecturing during the day, single days for the next 4.5 months. And that is the longest I've been off the road. Since the pandemic.
You'll be able to get acquainted with your husband.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes he comes along and sometimes he doesn't. Usually once a year he'll come along on one of these long trips, and then he realizes how hard the the regiment is, because it is a constant regiment when you're out on the road.
Well, and they don't see you.
Yeah, they used to see me. He says, I don't want to go on a trip with you when you're not working. So we're working on that. But I truly, truly love, that's just one thing I truly love, is I love being in the classroom. I love meeting new quilters. In Pennsylvania, I saw some people I usually only see in the winter, and I was just thrilled to see them. So yeah, it's just a really, really fun time. So now I'll only be teaching in the 2 home shops that I teach at for the rest of the year. So I'm excited about that, trying to get some of the things done in the studio. I've got a couple of super custom jobs to do for some of my long-term, long-arming customers. So
Lynn, does this happen to you? Now, Val and Ann are online tonight.
Yeah.
They are 2 of my really good quilting students from, long time students, and sometimes fairies. But it's funny because I did a stint latter August and thought, I wanted to clear that stack of quilts away before September rolled in, because you always have this fear that there are those few out there that didn't go to camp and just, we're at home sewing, and, the phone's going to ring and there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 quilts. Yeah. So I had some of them. Oh, nice background. I had them 3 quilts done, and they went out the door. But as they went out the door, they were replaced. So, the long arming thing, I think for us is just that added little check mark that's on the box that has to happen. But I always, my mother always said, careful what you wish for, because, you sort of go, oh, the box is getting empty. And then boom, there's 7, 8 of them. I don't long arm as much as I did several years ago for people, because I just don't have the time. But yeah, and I'm getting to be more friendly with my computer unit.
Yay.
Love-hate relationship, I think.
Yeah.
So, new beginnings, new stuff. What else is new with us? Oh, we've got to tell everybody about the cruise.
Oh, yeah. So, the cruise. So, we're getting closer and closer. So, a lot of exciting things are happening. The fabric is coming in. We're going to be working on that side of it. We do have a few spots left in our classroom. And the boat, we've got a new report from the cruise line, and that we only have a few more rooms available. So if you're thinking about coming on this cruise with us and you've been on the fence, now's the time to jump on, because when the boat's full, even if the classroom isn't full, you can't get on the boat.
Yeah, they take priority over our unbooked rooms. So
yeah, it's really whoever pays for the room first gets it. It's not any different than anything else in the world. Yeah. And so if you're thinking about joining us, think seriously about it. Contact us with any questions. Contact Michelle with any questions. And remember that there is a non-quilter rate, so that you can bring your sister or your husband or a friend who might be a knitter, who just wants to relax and enjoy this wonderful vacation and sort of crafting part of it.
Because the non quilters that come along with you as partners, they still eat with us.
Right.
They're not banned, and they're, especially if it was a sister who was knitting. I mean, my goodness, you can come sit in the classroom and make friends with everybody. You're not totally banned from their kind of thing. So that's, get on it.
Yeah. So
the more the merrier.
Yeah.
The fashion, I was going to say the fashion coordinator has been totally up to her fancy business. And I surprised Lynn with a little gift that actually arrived today. Yes. That we will not preview. No. We will preview onto the cruise.
Yeah.
So some of my fashion coordination will only be seen on the cruise. So there, another reason to come to see what the heck we're going to be wearing. And it isn't a bikini. No.
Yeah. There'll be no bikinis.
No bikinis. No.
But we plan to have a really, really fun time. You know, some lighthearted conversations, some fun games. It's just, you know, it's part vacation and part quilting retreat. That's what it's kind of like. So, yeah, so that brings in the next little thing about our cruise.
Now, we've set up a Facebook group, but it's private. So it's only for the cruisers. Now, one of the reasons we wanted to do this is so that, you know, if you have a question, like even a general question, and I learned a lot the last cruise that we did this, because, you know, we had a couple of cruisers, and I know that there are a couple of the girls that are, you know, not shy to cruising, and they probably have lots of tips and tricks. And the one thing that I found out was bring magnetic hooks. And so when Lynn went last year on her cruise, I said, you're supposed to bring magnetic hooks.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're going to be sharing stuff like that. It'll be a way for you to talk to us. We'll give you some heads up on anything. Say we forgot something, because we are only human. As we found out today when I did my Facebook post, or yesterday, that said, Tuesday, not Wednesday. Anyway, yeah, it's just a great little group chat place for us to sort of give information back and forth.
Nobody can even find it. The only way that you will be allowed into this group is we singly invite every person in. Okay, so our cruisers will get an email and asking for a certain amount of information, and then we will send an invite to you and allow you to come into this group. So you can't find it if you search on Facebook. It's totally a private group. So what else is going on?
What else is going on? Oh, yeah.
Well, so, you know, even though, you know, it's September, and, you know, I'm feeling like I just finished a marathon with this on the road work. Not only am I trying to finish this publication, but the circuit for next year, all of the new classes have to be pumped up and be ready with photographs and supply lists and all of that stuff. So I have 7 new classes on the line that are going to need to go into those portals that I have to put them in so I can teach the way I teach. And so that's, you know, right on the heels of this publication that I'm doing for my block of the month, is finishing all those details, that administrative work. So,
and Lynn, exactly. What are some of your friends for?
Yes. So, you know, really every one of us who publishes, we have what we call our testers. Now, testers can do a bunch of things. A lot of the testing, yes, can be empirical, where you make units or you make blocks. And some people make the quilts because they like the pattern, they like the design, and they're going to teach it. So we have all of those. And then we have, you know, just the everyday quilter that just wants to help out, and they'll do. And then we have the proofreaders, and then we have the people that got to do the math. And then we have the people that, you know, we need a totally different look or angle at this to say, you know,
that'd be me.
Yeah. So using someone who's from a different country like Carla, she has a completely different perspective. Also, Carla's been doing this for 2 decades longer than I have. I mean, Carla's been doing this for a long, long time, whereas I have only been doing this for like 15 years. This part of it, the publishing, the designing, the full-blown publishing. And so we have a lot of people. I spent a couple hours online today with some of my editors. And so that's what we do. So
now, with that said, that doesn't mean that when it goes to publish, and you get that published pattern, there may, because again, we're only human, there may be an error that, you know, even though we've done our due diligence and had people looking at it and making it and reading it, you can only read that thing so many times when you just don't see anything anymore. And there may be the odd error. And what I've been telling a lot of my quilters that I run into who say, oh, you know, there was mistakes in here. And I said, when you find a mistake in a pattern, go onto their website, send them an email, and let them know, because we just love you if you catch it. Because once it's gone to print, we're on to something else. That ship sort of sailed, and it's not in the forefront of the brain anymore. So, sometimes it's just a I want to say a copy error, where instead of 3 1/4, it's 3 1/2, because we do so much with 1/2 inches. And that's happened on my patterns a couple of times. I've proofed it. I've read 3 1/4. My brain knows it's supposed to be 3 1/2. And for some unearthly reason, there was a 4 and not a 2. And it just, off it goes. So
it's really important for us to hear from you. If you find something that is confusing, or you don't understand, or we think it's an error, we are grateful and very thankful, because then we'll put it on our website that says, here's our pattern correction. And if you get a new pattern that you think has something on it that is not making sense, go to their website and go to the pattern correction page, because we all have them. And you might find that they have reworded it or they have corrected it, and you'll be all set. But we love feedback from our quilters out there in the community on how we're doing, because it's, I strive to get better at what I do every day. And I do that with the help from all the quilters I meet, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's a colleague like Carla. We all get better because we work together.
That would be, instead of sitting on the dock today in the sunshine, I was holding gooey drain pipes. You don't even want to know. And, when he was busy, I was reading, highlighting, making pencil scribbles. Anyway, but okay, so you're going on a personal retreat. I
am. So that brings up our topic.
Yes. So I'm going on a personal retreat. Now, for a lot of you guys, like, we go to retreats all the time, but we're not sewing. The brain is going. We're trying to help everybody. We're, doing 1,000 things. Last year, I was teaching. I was in Maine last year teaching. So I didn't get the opportunity to attend the retreat that I go to in October with a friend of mine down the river. And we go to, just a minute, somewhere in the Muskokas, I don't even know, some resort. And there's all the ladies from this area, Powassan, North Bay. Hello, if you're out there, girls. And I get to sew my stuff. So none of the kids got any homemade Christmas presents last year, because I don't have time for that. And we're actually going for 5 days. So I get 5 days of just, I got a quilt. Can't talk about it because somebody might be watching. Yeah. And this year, I have to make bears. Somebody found a stuffed bear, and now I got to make stuffed bears, because as a good grandma, what you do for one, you do for all the others, especially when the other ones are going to be here for Christmas. Right. So I'm going to be the lady in the corner moaning, groaning, and huffing and puffing, because I don't sew. I'm hoping this is going to be an easy pattern.
Yeah, I don't do 3-dimensional animals. I don't make those 3-dimensional things. But
you do retreats. We both do retreats, and we're at the point where we don't generally need to take any kind of lessons. But that's not to say we haven't done lessons. That's and right. If something comes up, we did Chicago and we took classes.
Right.
But our question, I think, along for this topic is, do you, as a quilter, do retreats? And if so, what kind of retreats do you do, and why?
Are you going to a retreat to get a project done because you can't get it done at home because too many people are pulling on you? Are you going to a retreat because you're sick of cooking 3 meals a day and you just don't want to cook? I mean, and you just want to relax. You don't want that schedule that we have of everyday life. Do you do it because you find that you learn a lot from the different people in the room, and what kind of things do you like to do? Do you like to have, like a social activities, like in the evening, You know, do you want to have a trivia game, or do you want to do something that's fun, not particularly sewing at your station or getting your project done, or whatever that you brought with you, but engaging and learning about all the other people that you just met. You know, who knows, you might meet your best friend at one of these.
I'm a big advocate on a couple of things, especially after COVID. After COVID, we were in our rooms by ourselves. You know, the only way that we saw people or even had a bit of creative inspiration was online. And that's fine. There's a time and place for that. But COVID's over. And for me, I am trying to encourage all those quilters to get out and go do a shop hop and go be with other quilters, because I had a group of ladies in here. They came, as you know, I have my own retreat space here on the property. And the quilters come and they have the opportunity, if they wanted, to take lessons from me, or just come as a group and sew all the time. And I pop up and they pop down to the studio to see what I'm doing. Anyway, I, since you left, have been working on my Alaska quilt. And the one lady went, "Oh my God, you know, I don't even want to do that, Val." And after talking about it and going through the blocks and showing some pictures, she was like, "Well, that's not too bad. I might want to make one of those." So she went from yuck, don't like it, to, oh, I might do it. And that's why you have to get out. You have to be with people.
Right.
And of course, I mean, when it comes to Alaska, we tuckerized it and we used the wedge, but we did that last month and made it a whole lot easier. One of the things that I am tossing around, Lynn, and you know, back in the early 2000s, because I've been doing this song and dance for way too long, I ran quilting retreats at Killarney Mountain Lodge here on the shore of Georgian Bay, Northern Ontario. One of the most inspirational areas that I feel is in our neck of the woods. It's the home to almost all of the group of 7 have painted there, which are renowned Canadian artists. And somehow I go there on the shore of Georgian Bay with the big pine trees, and I brought you. And I get inspired. I want to go home and play with different fabrics and different colors and different things. So I'm a little bit thinking of revisiting the Killarney Lodge retreat thing. However, I will be teaching, because here in Northern Ontario, we don't have that opportunity to do a lot of, you know, we'll say, lessons in the art of quilting, be it beginner to advanced, with, you know, all of our little tweaks that we throw in there. So I guess you can sort of say we're putting out the feelers to see what everybody likes to do. Yeah. There's a lot of bring your own project retreats out there, and not a lot where you're learning.
Yeah. So, you know, what is it that you want in a retreat? Why do you go? How long can you go for? You know, is it, you know, I'm involved with a retreat where you can, you know, flex your amount of nights there from 4 to 8. You know, and is that something that people are interested in? You know, maybe some people only want to go Friday night to Sunday, and some other people might want an extra night. So have the option of having an early start and start on Thursday. So, you know, just all those things. We're gathering information about what it is that you like about retreats, why you go, things you find that are just enhancements. You know, and if you say, well, I just want to go and sew, that is feedback to us. That's an input that we want to hear. Because I too am probably going to look at doing something back here in Vermont again. I haven't done it in a couple of years. I do the one on the Cape in the winter, but it's likely I'll start that back up. I might not next year travel quite as many weeks as I traveled this year. I still will. You know, I'm on the AQS full-time teaching schedule. So I will be in Paducah next year for AQS, which is really sort of fantastic. That's my 4th location with them. And so I'm looking forward to that. And there's a few other things that I'm going to do. There's the cruise. So in April, and then hopefully we'll go back, to Gettysburg for MAQ and a bunch of other things. But I'm going to be less on the road. So it's more likely that starting in 2026, I will be doing quilt retreats here in Vermont.
Yeah.
So we want to hear about, why you go. What makes sense for you? And
yeah, I mean, you can always, find us on Facebook. What's your Facebook name?
Lynn Wheatley Quilter. Instagram, Lynn Wheatley Quilter. It's that easy. LynnWheatley.com.
Quilting by the river.
Yeah.
River. I'm quilting.
Yeah. So,
so Facebook, message us on Facebook. You can send me an email. You can comment here. Even though the video that you're watching may have already happened and you're watching a recording, you can still throw in the comment.
Throw in your comments. We check them. We check the channel frequently.
Check the channel.
Yeah. And, tell us what you're up to as you start back up in the fall. What are you doing? Let us know. What do you want to do?
Lynn, I was chatting with one of the shop owners today, because I phoned her to see, anything anybody's grumbling about, because I'm trying to put out some new classes. And she said, I have no idea. So what do you want to learn? What's out there? What's tickling your fancy these days? I know for both Lynn and I, we have a gamut of things that we can teach. I do quick applique, so kind of wonderful, Studio 1.8, like more precision piecing stuff, beginner to advanced. So does Lynn. So there's a lot of stuff out there that we can fill those gaps with a couple of projects. Yeah.
So are you interested in techniques? Also going to a retreat where you're just learning techniques and maybe not a big project, but really learning the ins and outs of the wedge star. Now, the wedge star ruler that we use to tuckerize Alaska has a lot of other things that you can do with it, and lots of cool blocks and designs that you can make with it. And you just need to spend time with it. And, a retreat is a great place because you can be relaxed. The timing is looser, the agenda can flow. Whereas if you're coming in and out of a class in 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours, you've got this time frame, the anxiety level is a little higher. But certainly, technique-based stuff, you can, like the Tucker trimmer. My block of the month is coming out with 5 techniques of the Tucker trimmer. Well, there's a whole bunch more. Yeah. That tool will do a whole bunch of things that are not square, they're triangles. So, and they make great effects in your designs and your blocks. So, it can just be, getting you reacquainted with some of the tools you've had for years that you maybe aren't using.
And re-energized.
With love.
Yeah. Or forgot the unit. Yeah. How many times do you look at something and go, oh yeah, that's really cool. I should use that. That's where we go. Valerie says she goes on retreats to sew and be with fellow quilters. And again, it's part of it. It's why I do what I do, because I like to chat and I like to be with people and I like to chat. Oh, I already said that.
She likes to chat. Yeah. Hence why this is such a good idea, because we can chat for quite a while. Actually, we do chat quite a bit and often as we're trying to, fumble through some of the things. Sometimes the technology changes, or there's a deadline that comes up and I missed something, or where's the link to this or that, and so we'll text or we'll just call because we're just like, I need the answer now.
And Lynn, with regards to retreats, there's a lot of times where just in general conversation, the quilter has picked up tidbits that they were, maybe not embarrassed to ask, but thought it was a silly question. Right. And yet you've already covered it. You've covered it in the conversation just because a lot of times we sneak info in when we're explaining something else or whatever, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be about a tool. It can just be general sewing stuff that we highlight as a thing. So I'm a really big advocate of retreats and retreats that you learn stuff in, because up here that's hard to come by. I did, I don't know, 5-6 years, just before the pandemic. In fact, the pandemic shut me down. I was doing twice a year, spring and fall, called, what did we call it? Symposium. And, in the spring, I brought in an out-of-town quilting instructor, Kathy Wiley, names evade me today. And then in the fall, I taught one of my patterns. So, they can work all the way around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So speaking,
a couple things. Yeah. So a couple things. If you're watching, and I'm going to be teaching that Alaska Tuckerized in October at Middlebury, the Quilters Corner at Middlebury. So that's the original Alaska, this guy. Okay. But so that's October 15th and the 29th. But on October 4th, I'm going to do a sort of a presentation to the club that belongs to that kind of quilt store. Okay. So they're just, you hang out for the morning. You learn some new things about how to sew stuff. So I'm going to speak a little bit there. And in the afternoon, I'm staying to do my color class. And so if you're interested in Alaska, there are still a few spots left, but you can use that color class to actually select those fabrics. Okay. This is a great quilt to talk about value and color and how to make that design actually occur. Okay. So that's what you can look forward to. I also have 4 finishing classes coming up. In November is finishing month. So it's all those things that you haven't done in a while, those UFOs that are sitting back in that bin or on the back of a chair or in a bag in the corner. Get those babies out. Let's get those done. So you can come, 2 of them at the shop in New Hampshire and 2 of them at the shop in Vermont. You can come stitch with me for the day and I'll get you going and inspire you.
There you go.
Yeah. So
meanwhile, I'm spending my fall here at home. The studio's up and running. The loft is busy. I've got groups coming in every week. And the groups are now booking a year in advance, which is wonderful. But that doesn't mean that there's not spots available. So if you're kicking around and wanting a quiet place and a little bit of me, just check out the website. Now, we have one more special announcement.
Yes. So we're going next month, October 7th. It's going to be a Tuesday. So we're going to a Tuesday.
It's going to be a Tuesday.
It's going to be a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
So I think that that was part of the problem as we're trying to multitask every day. And the announcement that was written yesterday or day before for tonight's episode was in conjunction with all of the stuff we're getting ready for October. So so we're going to host a special guest in October. So who would that be, Carla?
Well, we've been doing this song and dance with Studio 180 now for 11 years, 11 going to 12. So we've known what we like to call the boss lady for quite some time. So we will have Deb Tucker herself join us on Tuesday, October the 7th. That's right. Deb's going to chat about things that are new, things that she's doing. Yep.
There's a lot of new stuff going on that, it's just not a company that designs rulers or trim down tools. There's a lot of things going on there behind the scenes. And she, she's taking a little bit of time out of her busy schedule. She's going to be right between the 2 main events, the biggest main events in the country. And that is the International Quilt Market, which is our wholesale. It's where all the professionals get together in Houston at the George Bush Convention Center. And then that ends on the 6th. She's going to meet with us on the 7th. And then on the 8th is the night that Festival opens. So Festival goes right behind that.
we had wanted to get her on the Wednesday, but she is lecturing at the show on Wednesday night. So she wasn't able to do the Wednesday, and well, we're flexible. So we said, sure, Tuesday night. So she's probably going to be in, what did Sarah say? They're going to put her in some little section, quiet section, so she can pop on somebody's laptop and do the thing. So quite excited to see her again. It's been a couple of years, and we saw her last year in Chicago.
Right. Yeah. We saw her in May in Chicago when we were at H&H. Yeah. So that's going to be pretty exciting. We've been doing this with them for a long time, and that is part of our quilting journey. And likewise, we're certified instructors for Studio 180. So we're kind of part of their quilting journey too, because we're an arm of them, so to speak, so we have a lot that goes back and forth.
I've been fortunate enough to design patterns for 2 of her lines for Island Boutique now. So it's always nice to touch base and see what she has new that's coming up that can spur us in the design area kind of thing. And it's something new for Lynn and I. We've been doing some chatting, and there may be some other guests coming up in the future. Just to bring them to you, that you don't always have to go to them, which is part of the Northern Ontario theme that I like to do, is I bring it to you so you don't have to always go to them. So
so we're looking forward to that. So remember, October 7th, 7:00 right here. And you want us to cover a specific question related to Studio 180, we will certainly gather those up, send them on, and I think Deb will be quite honored to address some of those things.
Well, she has a new calendar. They have a calendar.
Yes, so the 2026 calendar of quilts. So it's very nice. So check that out. And actually, I think the pre-orders just shipped out. The big load came in from the printer. The pre-orders all just shipped out, and there still is a few, I think, in this first printing that you can grab. So if you want one of those, check it out on the website. And
they should be in your quilt shop. For the quilt shops that decided to bring them in, they will be in the quilt shop. New seasons, new starts, September. And we always ask you to hit that like button and subscribe, because when you subscribe, you get a little info that says, hey, we're going live on such and such a date or whatever. And it's easier to find that way. So subscribing is great. Over the last little while, Lynn, we've gotten some new subscribers. Sharon Marples. Hi, Sharon, if you're on. Virginia Gibbons. Susan Walker. Susan, you are one of our cruisers.
Right.
Hey. And Donna, and I'm not going to say this right. Do you want to grab it, Lynn? Galea.
Gillian?
Galea?
That's what,
anyway.
So welcome to our channel, and glad you're subscribing. So hopefully we can continue to bring this casual chat about all things quilting, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. So drop a comment below or connect with us on social media or our websites. Okay. Keep creating, stay inspired, and enjoy your quilting journey. Because remember, it's your journey.
Yes. And get out of your sewing room and go be with other quilters, because that is very important.
It makes you laugh. I mean, you can laugh by yourself, but it's a lot of fun to laugh with your friends and meet new friends. And, we all love fabric, and it inspires us. So keep stitching. Till next time.
It's my happy season, so I'm going for walks. All right, everybody. See you next time.
See ya. Bye, Carla.